Well, hello, hello, hello. Today I decided to go live on my homepage. I wanted to share some information on how to market a book. This is Kathleen Gage, and tomorrow I'm offering a masterclass to anybody who gets my directory, podcast directory for vegan and plant-based businesses. It's got 135 listings in it, and I've put the link in the description of this Facebook Live. And I just wanted to go through a few notes of what I'm putting together in the presentation because I'm working on the presentation right now. The thing that I see with authors is so often they wait for the book to be published before they ever start marketing. That's probably the biggest mistake that most authors make. What you want to do is you want to start right now to market and actually not market the book, but to position your expertise, to start building community, to start getting your name out there. So you want to start by really getting a position in social media. What I'm doing here with all these lives is a great way for me to get my name out there and for new people to be introduced to my material. My market that I'm really going deep into is the vegan and the plant-based market. It's not teaching people how to be vegan. It's not teaching people how to be plant-based. It's teaching strategies and marketing skills in book publishing and book marketing and social media to existing vegan businesses on how they can gain more visibility in front of their ideal customer. Now, keeping in mind, their ideal customer may not be vegan, may not be plant-based, but they might aspire to be. So I might be putting my name out in front of coaches, consultants, speakers, authors, manufacturers, anything like that that is part of that market. So what you want to do is you want to start right now and I've got my notes here because I'm putting a PowerPoint together. If you're interested in joining it's called the Ninja Book Marketing Training tomorrow, I suggest that you get the directory. It is targeted towards vegan and plant-based podcast shows. So if you're not part of that industry, if you're not part of that market, if you have no interest whatsoever, if you're the kind of person that says, well, I'm going to go have a big steak right now while you vegans are out doing what you're doing, you're probably not at all a fit. Actually, it's not a probably. You're not at all a fit for what I'm trying to accomplish here. So let's look at some of the pieces that I'm going to be discussing tomorrow. You want to start now, and I need to get my glasses here. Yeah, that is true. You want to start now to lay your foundation. So what does that mean? If you have a website, you want to make sure that your website is user-friendly. We're actually updating my site right now. It's going to have a new look and feel. And that's part of my foundation is the new website, the new messaging, the new direction that my business is going in. You want to make sure that your social media is all branded to what your message is, what your mission is, what your direction is. And so check that all your social media channels are actually aligned, that there's a similar message. It is a good idea to use the same picture throughout the social networks because you become recognizable to people that way. Another thing, we're going to talk about what you need in a bio, what kind of photos you need. Another thing that I'm going to really be addressing is the fact that a lot of authors, they rely on a publisher to do their marketing for them because the publisher said, oh yeah, we do marketing for you. That usually means, not always, but it usually means they might send out a media release to PR Web or something. They may actually send out a message to their email distribution list, but that's usually the extent of it. And that's a lot. You need to take control of your own marketing. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow again. If you want to join, all you need to do is get the directory. It's $27. It's got 135 listings in it. And when you get the directory, you automatically have a spot into the masterclass. If you can't make the masterclass, you will get the replay. But those who come to the masterclass and show up live actually get to ask me questions. Another thing you want to do is you want to have a good media kit, because as you start getting visibility for yourself as an author, you may have either podcast host or traditional media that reach out to you. I actually interviewed today a young woman that was on, she's on TikTok and she's a vegan. She is raising her baby, who is 9 months old right now, as a plant-based eater. And she's gotten a lot of people who are supporting her in this and a lot of people who are pushing back, saying, call child services, you're abusing your child, even though her child is very, very healthy. Well, Good Morning America picked up on the story, and they actually had her on their show. From there, I saw her on Good Morning America. I reached out to her and I said, would you come on my podcast show? And the one thing that I would recommend for anybody that's in her position or anybody that's looking for visibility, because I asked her, what are your long-term goals? Are you going to write a book? Are you going to start a mom's club? What are you going to do? And she said, I want to be an influencer on TikTok. Well, some of the things that she needs to do, and not just her, but everybody, if you want to get visibility in the media, you have to have a media kit prepared. And you should have that residing on your website. You should also have it in PDF format. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. We're also going to start, we're going to talk about how to start building your voice sooner than later. And again, I'm looking at my notes here, but this is all that I'm going to cover tomorrow. It's going to be a 90-minute training. And we're going to look at how do you drive people to a location to give you their name and email address, because social media is great. But what if a platform shuts down? What if they change their rules and you can't post things that you were posting? And let's say you've built a group of 85,000 people. I have a friend who did that. She built a Facebook group of 85,000 people. And one day she went to her group and it was shut down. She had to petition Facebook to get it back, and she never even found out why they shut it down. But that was something to panic over when you build a group that big. But she's smart enough to where she was taking them from the group and putting them on a list by their permission. She would give them what is called an ethical bribe to get them on a list. Okay, so then we're going to talk about how do you really utilize, for example, lives. I've been doing Facebook Live since the beginning of the year, and I'm starting to get some really nice traction from it. And my focus is to raise awareness around the fact that I work with vegan and plant-based authors, speakers, coaches, consultants, manufacturers, small businesses, executives who want to have more visibility. So I'm making sure to incorporate that into my messaging. Now, once I do a live, then I repurpose the content into a number of different avenues. You'll find out what those are tomorrow during the training. Then we need to talk about Amazon. What do you do to really optimize your position on Amazon? You've got your authors page, and there's certain things you want to do with that. You have your book description, you have your book cover, you have what's inside the book, the look inside feature. All of that plays into the success of your book, because I'm going to shatter some people's illusion right now that you're going to get rich as an author. You as an author selling books will not get rich in 99.9% of the cases. Sure, there's always the exception to the rule, but the reality is for most people, you will not be able to make a lot of money by selling your books. Even if you sell $20,000 or $30,000 worth, in the big scheme of things, that's not a lot of money. However, on the back end, that's where you can make money, whether it be through your own consulting, whether it be through speaking engagements, whether it be through digital programs that you offer, whether it be through a membership program. We're going to talk about all of that tomorrow. And again, the link is in the description of this live. I will be, when I repurpose this, I'll be putting the link in. So if you want to join, you're welcome to join. It's $27. You get the directory with some bonus training on that, and you get the masterclass. Then we're going to talk about something that I absolutely love, getting on podcast shows. When you get on podcast shows, you are reaching a much wider group of people and a much greater group of people that you can actually take through an experience where you build value for them, you build relationship with them, and you actually create massive, massive connection with them. And we're going to talk about all that tomorrow. By the way, This is Kathleen Gage. It helps for people to know who I am. This is Kathleen Gage with Vegan Visibility. That's veganvisibility.com. I encourage you, go ahead and get the directory if in fact getting on plant-based and vegan shows is of interest to you. If it's not of interest to you, then don't get it. I had somebody on my distribution list. I've been making some changes since the pandemic. I used to be more of a generalist, working with speakers, coaches, consultants, all of that. And I've niched way down to working with people within the vegan and the plant-based industry. And I had somebody who wrote me today and was really upset. It's like, I don't want any of this vegan stuff. And I said, then maybe you need to get off my list. Quite seriously, it's like, I'm really clear the direction I'm going, and I'm not going to be a fit for everybody, just like you're not a fit for everybody. But I encourage you, determine what it is you are doing. What is your main message? Who is your market? And then put a plan together to really market your books, because books are a great way to position your expertise. Books are a great way to be considered an influencer. Books are a great way to create opportunity on the back end. I've done everything from having a book launch very, very early on when I knew nothing about book launches and I sold nothing, which, that's kind of the low end. Well, on the high end, I had a book where it was a ticket into a 3-day event. When people bought the book, they got a ticket to a 3-day event. At the 3-day event, I introduced consulting services, and it was a multiple 6-figure event on the back end. Now, was there risk involved? Absolutely. However, with proper planning, you can have a number of avenues that your book generates revenue. So I encourage you, check it out. If it's a fit, I would love to have you in the masterclass. And if not, that's okay too. My whole purpose is to create value, to give information. And for the people I'm a fit for, definitely want to work with you. For the people I'm not a fit for, that's okay. This is Kathleen Gage with Vegan Visibility, wishing you a great, great day. Take care.